Dave, I know the NHL is about the business of winning, but there's also the saying that a lot of guys use. They're men who get to play a boys' game. Did you get to see that last night with some of the joy and the excitement of Bear breaking the slump, seeing McDavid's goal, and just pulling it out in a game like that?
The games now, the importance of the game is continues to get magnified as the season winds down. You see players that are competing hard; they're happy for each other when they have success, and I think you saw that in some of the emotion last night.
Sometimes observers of the game like us will say, well, that's a statement game. I don't know if coaches and players would actually use that type of a word, but is that something you can draw on in the future when you're in tense situations?
Well, every game you take a little bit out of it. I mean, that was an intense game. It was a physical game. It's a good test for our team. The first part of the game, I thought we were competing hard. We just our puck play was not very good, and just making plays under pressure to relieve some of that pressure. We turned it over too many times, and we battled hard to get it back and not give up much. But you'd like to be a little cleaner, but that's the way the game goes sometimes. I like the way that, when sometimes the game's not going your way and you feel like you're chasing a little bit, it's too easy to drop off. I like the way our guys stuck with it and got better as the game went on. And it wasn't just, I mean, you see Connor scores a highlight reel goal, but we had a lot of people compete really hard and push that game to our direction and in the third period. So, it's one of those games, I wouldn't put it a statement game, but your group learns that if it competes hard enough, we have a chance to win. And that's what we did last night.
Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Hi, Dave. I was wondering if I can get a thought on Ethan Bear and his season. And I know he struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year, had the concussion problems. But last night he looked like he was back to playing the way he played last season.
He's been going here pretty good for a while, and he's continuing to build his game. And I agree with you. He was a real strong player for us last night. In third period, we moved him up with Nurse, and he came up with a huge goal for us. But he was a real strong competitor last night. His game's rounding, they're just really evolving to another level, which is it's a great time to do it. In the home stretch here, we got to get everybody playing at the top level they can, and if he continues to push his game forward to new heights, he'll be a really, really good player for us.
When he's on, it looks like he's not afraid to make those passes out of his own zone as opposed to just getting the puck out. And he made a couple of really, really good passes yesterday out of his own zone. And defensively, he was really strong. Is it just a confidence thing with him, or do you think it's something else there?
No, that's one of his strengths. I mean, he's kind of what I call sneaky strong, and you watch him in the corners, very rarely gets out muscled, but he's got talent and skill to make those good passes, that stick to stick passes rather than flipping it out. And there is times when you just have to bail out, but he looks to make those good plays out of our zone. And I wouldn't put him in the dynamic offensive player mode, but he's one of those guys that I love because he's well-rounded in all aspects. He can play some power play. He's a very good penalty killer, and he can make a good first pass, and he defends well. So he's just an all-around really solid defenseman. And like you say, his start of the year was kind of up and down a little bit and then got hurt. But ever since he's got back, he's really continued to build his game. I give him a ton of credit. He's put a lot of work in since he came back after the injury, and you're starting to see the results of that work the way he's playing right now.
Rob Dzichkowski, Post Media.
Hi, Dave. I'm just wondering if you had a chance to talk to or see Jujhar Khaira today, and just wondering what his prognosis might be after kind of an unsettling situation.
Yeah, I talked to him for a while today. He's feeling good. He's feeling fine today, but they're gonna do a few tests on him here the next few days, and we'll see where it goes. So it's he says it's funny, he got hit and just was stunned a little bit, but then today he feels absolutely normal. So they're gonna do some tests and make sure everything's all right.
So moving over to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, then what is his sort of prognosis going forward, and is there a little bit of reason for pause after what happened with Jujhar?
Well, I think they're totally two different cases here, but Nuge skated today, he had a hard practice today, and I think that we'll see in the morning and see if he gets cleared by the doctors. If he does, he's got a chance to play tomorrow night.
John Sexsmith, Global.
Hey, Dave, considering the comeback and the energy and the excitement that created last night, how much did you miss the fans?
Well, we miss the fans every game, but there's certain games where the emotional level's high. You have some great plays. Both teams are competing hard. Those are games that fans love to be in, and so you miss the emotion in the building. Now, that being said, I thought both teams, whether there was fans there or not, both teams competed very, very hard. So it's the fans are missed every game, but you have a sense that in a game like that, it would have been a lot more fun with fans there.
Thanks.
Jack Michaels, 630 Chad.
Dave, I'll start with kind of just tacking on what John just said. It did seem to separate itself from the normal regular season game. Not that they're not competitive, but that one last night really struck me as maybe one that would remind you of some games you played in the late 1980s. That there was an old school feel to that one, and I just wondered whether, am I exaggerating? Did you feel it on the benches? Because it, like you said, I don't think Montreal has anything to be ashamed of either.
No, both teams competed really hard. It was a physical game. That's what set it apart. There was a lot of hits in that game, a lot of real hard competing for loose pucks, hard competing to get to the net. So it was one of those games where there was a lot of contact and a lot of aggressive play, and that, it's when both teams are doing it, ends up being a good game.
And Dave, to follow up on that, and I don't think you've commented on it or been asked about it, so I'm just curious, because one guy who really seemed to thrive when it got more physical was Jesse Puljujärvi. He factored in all three of the goals, and as great as Connor's goal was, it doesn't happen if Jesse doesn't freight train Stahl.
Yeah, no, he competes that's the thing about Jesse. He loves them. He gets in those battles. He competes as hard as anybody does. And it's, he really, for his size and his strength, he does very well in those battles. So you love to see a guy when the game is really hard and people are competing and he's competing against big defensemen. And every time he comes out of a battle, he's got a big smile on his face. That's when you know he's enjoying the game.
Rob Duchkowski.
I did just one more. You one goal against in the last two games. Is that as sort of an evolution of the team play, maybe the result of more practice and more rest, or just how a couple of games went?
They're tight games, both tight games. Smith played very well in both games, and but we put some work in practice that we talked about the last 14 games coming into this stretch here, and want to make sure we have things in order and want to be a better defending team. And I think we've accomplished that the last couple games, but still some work to be done.
Final question, Oliver Jensen, NHL.com.
Hi, Dave. Leon Draisaitl needs 2 points to be the best German scorer of all time. What do you think? How important is it for him?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I missed the first part of it.
Leon Draisaitl needs 2 points, scorer points, to be the best German scorer of all time. Do you think that's important for Leon?
Do I think it's important for him? No, I'm not sure if it's important for him, but I think it's a real feather in his cap. And to the level of player he is, he's one of the top players in the world. Germany should be proud of the work that he's put in, and proud of their hockey system coming up to allow a player like that to become one of the top players in the world. So he's a great teammate, very good person, and obviously a great player. And I think he should be proud if he ends up being the leading scorer for Germany.